Hello everybody, so today we're going to be talking about graphing quadratic functions again. We've already talked about how to graph them in standard form. Remember, that's the ax squared plus bx plus c. Today we're going to review graphing in the vertex form. This is something you should have spent a lot of time on in Algebra 2. So that m out in front is what we consider our stretch factor, and our vertex is located at h comma k. So remember, the number on the inside is what moves the parent graph left or right, and we could say it lies. So like if it was a -5, that means we would go 5 to the right instead of to the left. Now the number on the outside, k, that's what moves the vertex up or down, and it's outside and it tells the truth. So if it was like a +5, that means we would go up 5. So let's take a look at, this is our general form here, kind of how we think about it and probably how you were taught about it in Algebra 2. So you got that stretch factor, the h value moves it left or right and it lies. So you got to remember that. And then the k moves it up or down. So if there's a stretch factor, if there's something other than a 1 there, we have to multiply all the vertical movements by a. So we'd go over 1 up 1 times a, over 2 up 4 times a, and then over 3 up 9 times a. You still could plug everything in and, make your table that way if you choose to. So here's our first problem. We've got it in vertex form. We want to find its vertex and its minimum value. So its vertex, it would be located at, remember, the inside lies and the outside tells the truth. So be at 1, -4. So its minimum value is that low value that we get from the y. So its min would be at -4. So now if we want to find the x and y intercepts, all we have to do there is plug in 0 for y and solve for x, and that'll tell us what our values are for our x and intercepts. And then we'll do the y intercepts same way, except plug in 0 for x. So I'm going to start off plugging 0 for y. Get 2 times x minus 1 squared minus 4. So I got to work backwards in the order of operations. So I'd start off by adding 4. So now we got 4 equals 2 times x minus 1 squared. And then divide everything by 2. So now I have 2 equals x minus 1 squared. So now you take the square root of both sides. Get rid of that square. Put my plus and minus in front of the 2. So that gives me positive and negative radical 2 is equal to x minus 1. So my last step is to add 1. So our x-intercepts are at 1 plus and minus radical 2. So they don't cross at nice, neat points. So now if we want to find the y-intercepts, we just plug in 0 for x. So I'm going to do the same thing. 2 times 0 minus 1 squared minus 4. We're just going to work it out. So 0 minus 1 is -1. -1 squared is +1. 2 times +1 is 2. So we got 2 minus 4 there. So our y-intercept is at -2. All right, last one is to sketch the graph. So if we want to sketch the graph, we need to put a dot where our vertex is at. So it'd be +1, -4. And then this graph is opening up because there's not a negative in front of it. Now we can say, well, we're going to go over 1 from the vertex and up 1 times 2 because our stretch factor is 2. Then we can flip that point over. Then we go over 2 up 4 times 2, which would be 8. And I can flip that point over. So now that's all I can graph here, so I'm going to do the best I can at making it curved and not look like a V. There's our graph. Alright, so here's our next example. So we want to be able to write this in vertex form by completing the square. Remember, we practiced completing the square in the last lesson. So let's go ahead and get that started. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the c value to the other side by subtracting 5 from both sides. So I'd have y minus 5 equals negative x squared plus 4x. And now I'm going to factor out that negative in front of the x squared. So this one's actually a little bit more challenging than the ones that don't have the negative. So you factor out that negative, and now we got x squared minus 4x. And I'm going to leave a little spot here because we're going to have to figure out what we need there. So remember, we have to take half of this, the b value, and then square it. And that's what we need to add. So half of negative 4 is negative 2. Negative 2 squared is positive 4. So we're going to add positive 4 here. But since there's that negative out in front, we're going to have to take positive 4 times negative 1. So that really we're going to be subtracting a 4 over here. So now we have what? Y minus 9 equals negative. And we can write this thing in factored form. So we have two numbers multiplied to give us 4, but added to be negative 2 are negative 2 and negative 2. So this thing factors to x minus 2 times x minus 2. So we can just put it as x minus 2 squared. So now our last step is to add 9. And now we have our equation in vertex form. We can see the vertex is at net positive 2, positive 9. So that answers B. And so since this thing's opening down, it has a maximum value of 9. So now if we want to find the x and y intercepts, we just repeat the same process that we did in the last problem. So I'm going to do our x-intercepts first. So I'm going to plug in 0 for y. C, I guess. That's a C. All right, then I'm going to subtract 9 from both sides. So now I'm going to multiply both sides by negative 1 or divide both sides by negative 1. So I get rid of that negative out in front, so now we just have positives there. And now I can take the square root of both sides. Put my positive and negative there. So square root of 9 is 3, so we have a nice neat root here. Positive negative 3 equals x minus 2. Our last step would be to add 2. So our roots would be at 2 plus and minus 3. So our roots would be at x equals negative 1 and x equals 5. So the y-intercept, we do the same thing, but plug in 0 for x. Oops, I didn't plug in 0. There we go. So I'm going to do the same thing, just work it out. So negative 2 squared would be a positive 4. But we still have that negative out in front, so it would be a negative 4 plus 9. So our y-intercept would be at a positive 5. All right, so now I found a coordinate plane that'll work for us. So what we want to do here is we want to go right 2 and up 9, right? Because we are at positive 2, 9 for our vertex. And now this one's opening down. So the stretch factor is negative 1, so we go over 1, down 1. And we can go over 2, down 4. See if I can keep messing this up. Then we go over 3, down 9. So there's our negative 1 and our positive 5 that we just found. And then we could go over 4, down 16, but I'm not going to keep counting. So do the best I can at graphing. Whoa, that looked horrible. And that would be our equation. Fun stuff, right? Have a good day.